Hi, welcome back to City Vision University's Vocation, Calling, and Purpose of Work course. My name is Andrew Sears, and in this lesson, I'm going to talk about how you can do career path research and planning. So as we talked about in week one, there's three interrelated components of vocational discernment. So one is who you are. In the first 3 weeks, we covered your story, your personality, and your shape. And then the next part is what you do. So this week, in this lesson, is we're really thinking about what you do in this. So this is week 4, and then we're going to go into what you believe, and then we're going to revisit some of this in career planning later. So another way of framing this week is the first 3 weeks was focused about you. What are you good at? What do you enjoy? So that was weeks 1 to 3. And, as I said, but there's these other components, what will the world pay for and what does the world need? So that's really the focus of week 4. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to avoid these, problems that you have people who, have financially unsustainable lives and kind of this starving volunteer problem. So, I think we've already addressed the problem with the, and also we're trying to address the starving artist in this. So now one of the tools you're going to use in this week, it's the O.Net Career Interest Profiler, and you used this last week to get your Holland code. So you're going to have Holland codes from last week that you should have put into the forum, and you're going to have a score across these codes. And then you can go through and on this website, you can enter in your Holland codes, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And what's going to be important is after you enter in your Holland codes, it's going to show you your career options, but it also asks, what educational level do you want to look at your career options for? So, if you're at City Vision, you're at least going for your associates or vocational training or bachelor's. But then the extensive job preparation category, they don't explain this, but this is largely for graduate degrees. So, and then within each career, they're going to have information that's going to cover, okay, here's the knowledge you need to know. So if you're going to be a business teacher in post-secondary, so at a college, here's the knowledge of what you'd need, the skills you would need, the abilities, the types of personality that fits with these, the technology skills you're going to need, the education level, and then what's the job outlook. So what's helpful about this is, for any job, you need to be thinking about these categories. So what knowledge do you have? What skills do you have? What abilities do you have? How does this fit with your personality? What technology skills do you need? And then you want to understand, the overall outlook. So ultimately, what we want you to do is we want you to be thinking about kind of a long-term plan for yourself. So ultimately, we want you to, so say you're in the counseling field. If say you start off as a certified peer recovery support specialist, so that takes about 6 months to get. Then the next step would be to become a certified addiction counselor. So that would be multiple years to get your what's called the CAC-1, or even more than that for CAC-2. Now beyond that, you can get a master addiction counselor, a master's in clinical social work, or a master's in clinical counseling. Now, most students will go directly for the certified addiction counselor. So this is an example of a career path. And what you want to understand, going back to the previous side, is start to explore your career path. So you might say, okay, now I might, be getting an associate's, but what would it look like if I got a graduate degree? What options might that open up to me? So now I want to go into the major project for this course. Now, for this week, the first part of the major project is going to be to do career research and to collect market research. So you can go to the O.Net website, and then you can just directly search different careers. So say you're interested in being, addiction. I'll just do nonprofit. And let's see what it has. So fundraisers, general operations managers, social and community services managers, and then you can go and then you can find. So you can, the first part of this would be to go and to do searches, by career. But the other would be to use your O.Net profiler. Now, if you completed your Holland codes from last week, you can just enter your scores here directly. And then after you enter your scores, then what it will do is it will give you a customized list of careers that you can look for, related to that. And then you collect your job, or you look at your job zones. So in this case, so extensive preparation needed, and then you hit, you want to go, say, for job zone 5, extensive preparation needed, and then you'd go to, and it would list all the different careers that might be a fit for you. So then you could go and say, okay, clinical and counseling psychologist, and you could, if you want to open that in a different window, you can, and then you can find out the details on this, and you can also watch videos. So part 1 would be to go, pick 3 to 5 potential careers, write 1 paragraph, discussing the gaps between your knowledge and skills. So this explains that. So that's the first part. The next one is pay scale. Pay scale is basically market research data in various fields. So if you wanted to find, what registered nurses make, then you can go there and, get more information. And then we also want you to do a local job search. And then out of that, identify your top 3 potential career paths. So one that you're already on, and later. So this is more a data-driven, market-driven, analysis. Later, what you're going to do is a little more dreaming. So we're going to have you do a designing your life exercise. And the way they say to do in this one is, plan 1 is basically your plan A. It's what you plan to do. Plan B would be, okay, if you didn't do this, what would be your first option? And then they have plan 3, which is, if basically if you could kind of do anything and resources weren't constrained, kind of a dream, path. Now, this whole framework, they call it Odyssey planning, and it's using something called design thinking. And design thinking is basically how creative people in the business world will design products. So, Apple, whenever they designed the iPhone, they use this. So this is more of a creative process rather than an analytical process. And the idea is you're going to basically sketch out your plan. And I'm not going to go into all the details because it's explained in details in this week. You're going to sketch out your plan for each of the weeks. So between those things, hopefully that will be helpful for you and thinking through your future life plans. And part of what you're going to do with this assignment, and then there's the third part, is identifying people for a prototype conversation. So that's what they call it in this Design Your Life book. Basically what it is, who's someone who could give you some real market feedback. So if you're in addiction counseling, you want to become a licensed professional counselor, find someone who already is that. Find someone who's much more advanced in your career, and they're going to give you market feedback. This is not a mentor necessarily. This is someone who knows the field. They're going to give you market research information. So they're going to say, okay, if you want to be a doctor, here's what you have to do. If you want to, be a college professor, here's what you have to do. So you're trying to get kind of a reality check by talking with this person. So this week, what you need to do is identify the person, and next week you're going to have an interview, and you're going to write up the summary of that interview. So thanks a lot.